around the world, viewers in Massachusetts, viewers all over the social media. My name is Ronald and I'm hosting the show called Integration. Integration is a show that has been bringing to you by Immigrants Development Alternative, which is a nonprofit organization in partnership with Multicultural Television Network, which is MCTV. So it's unbelievable for me today, in a few, like some hours, it's gonna be the new year, 2020. I couldn't believe I'm saying in a few days, I'm gonna be saying 2020. So for many people, this year, 2019, might have been a good year. And for many people, for other people, it might be not a good year. So as we're bringing the show to help people and to provide information that can help people. So today we have with us Mr. Donald Rankins. Welcome, Donald.
Thank you, Ronald. Welcome.
Thank you,
appreciate the welcome.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Donald, for coming to the show. And why I have Donald Rankin in the show, it is, as I mentioned about the year is changing and we're going to be in 2020. Many people want to stay motivated, like many distractions, many things going on. Life, family pressure, work pressure. So how through all of that, and especially for the newcomers in this country, when they come, they might picture before coming in the U.S., like they look at the U.S. as the way they see Hollywood, like, the actors and people in Hollywood, and they think that, oh, the U.S., this is that way. But when they actually come here, number one, they encounter what they call cultural shock. And sure, they have to overcome that, and they have to try to assimilate into the U.S. culture. It's one of the key things that can help them, in order to be successful in their dream. So we would like to talk about motivation today. So how to stay motivated throughout the day, like if we take it for the day, how someone can stay motivated.
Thank you, Ronald. I appreciate that, and a warm welcome. I believe motivation is going to come from understanding. I think most of us can identify with crisis, and that that's one of our disciplines that we teach. So it's a good amount of us that are going through identity crisis because we forget that we're connected to higher purpose. So without that understanding of who I am, where I come from, it's very difficult to know where you're going. So most of us are living ham and cheese experiences. We wake up in the morning and yes, we have knowledge, which is powerful, of the morning and the daytime, and that we have to be producing something. So we believe in the American dream, which is get a job, go to school, get a good education, marry, get a family, buy a home, and supposed to be connected to even spirituality, that we would at least believe that there is a higher power, there's a God, and we'd practice some kind of religion. So therefore, if we're in the identity crisis, we wake up, we start our day, we try to make sure everything goes well, but you can plan it, things can always, the bottom can fall out. If anything can happen, it will, basically, right? So just to go back to sleep, to start all over again. And what we call that is, it's almost insane to believe that you would be motivated for the higher cause. So in order to stay motivated, one has to have a drive. It must be understanding of, what's my purpose? What do I connect to? Having said that, I just digress just a little bit to give my highest honors to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And without him, none of this would be possible. And understanding that I've been created in a greater image is another part of getting out of the identity crisis. Knowing that my God, he created me with everything that I need. But I didn't always know that, Ron.
Okay.
there was a time when my mother would be teaching me some of these principles and of God and these things, and thou shalt not steal and all the commandments and how to keep your things neat and stay in school and have a good attitude. And, you know, we were born with free will choices. So while I was practicing what she was saying, life was going well. But when I altered that, I then had some more challenges. You understand what I mean when I say that?
I understand.
So I went on with my life just like this, connected to principles of obedience and discipline, but also wanting to be an adult, wanting to do my own thing.
Okay.
So I went through a period where you would almost call me almost a juvenile delinquent until one day I took responsibility for my actions. And I was going to call my mother and tell her I was in trouble, and I didn't do that, Ron. And I'll make it a little shorter, where I wanted to please her, so I said, Mom, I'll go to church with you. Now, unbeknownst to me, Ron, I thought I was going for her. And then I end up being in a service. My pastor's name is Bishop Henry Alexander Mochi II. He's been preaching for over 45 years. And Mission Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ is the physical place where we were worshiping and still worshiping. And I come in and I'm looking at my mother. She's excited and happy. She's motivated. And I'm motivated to please her. And the preacher, the choir sings, but our pastor preaches a message on juvenile delinquency. Imagine that.
Okay.
So I look at my mother because I think that she has revealed a secret. But she looks as surprised as I do. And then I realized, because her God was already proven to be real, because he answered her prayers. But now her God would be my God. Here's how it worked.
Okay.
He preached that message. I heard God speaking to my situation. And I came forward and I asked the Lord to save me. And from that day, Ron, things started to change around. Still had problems, still had challenges, but inside beginning to know relationship. I believe that this motivation that we're talking about in life, more about relationship than anything else.
Okay. And if I add a little bit more, what I say I add a little bit more, like you mentioned the drive.
Yes.
So, like for people who are, what I say, they don't really understand, like, what is, when you're talking about, they should have a drive, something that push him. Can you just, talk more? And if you can elaborate with some examples, because why I would like you to do that, it is many people, for instance, especially in America, with, as I mentioned, all the pressure, life, family, work, and especially if someone trying several times on something and they cannot realize it. And also they found themselves in a situation, for instance, some people, they're living paycheck. Paycheck.
Sure,
So
sure.
how this drives, so how someone can maintain that drive and for themselves, to stay motivated.
So I think it's also connected to, again, purpose. That drive and purpose is the same thing.
Okay.
One can have a need and be like, listen, I need money. And someone could then say, a way to get money is to get a job.
Yeah.
Someone else could be like, the way to get money is to cut the middleman out and become an entrepreneur.
Okay.
But whatever is inside of you that will receive that knowledge and information has to be connected with destiny.
Okay.
Right? And before you may understand destiny, you may just be fulfilling a need. So that need is, okay, I'm going to try one of these things. So I get a job.
Okay.
And I'm getting a job, it's paying a little above minimum wage. And now I'm working and I have money, but I'm living from paycheck to paycheck. Some people survive that 20, 30 years and then retire with just a little bit of smaller increments on their salary. Others find a dissatisfaction with it. So they get a little money, but then they find that they have a need still. They still got lack.
Yeah.
So they're like, I need more money. Some people get disgruntled. Other people take that energy and say, well, if I need more money, I might have to be motivated to get a second job. Now, a second job only makes you have less time.
Okay.
So now you have less time with family and you find there's another crisis.
So it's like a trade.
Yeah. At some point, though, someone has to say, I need to balance my life. So my purpose in life has to be written down. What's my goals? And my goals are going to be based on relationship, people, places, and things.
Okay.
And how do I balance that in my relationship to life in this world? So my family is important, my God is important, my church is important, the friends are important, my joys are important. Those are activities that I do to keep me excited about life. How do I do this? And maintain? Somebody then says, what is my skills?
Okay.
I like speaking. I like teaching.
That's good.
Yeah. So now someone told me that, you need more education. So now I've got a goal. Because I'm going to go to school to get more education, more knowledge, more information. And then I'm going to apply that. See that application piece? I'm going to apply it not just to my life, but to my relationships and see how that fares.
When you mention about relationship, and I am talking like I would like the viewers to understand that, because our audience more likely, people who have been resettling in the U.S., people who have been here, not long ago, or maybe they have been here for a while. But what we see in many communities, especially like if we take the example of Massachusetts, for instance, you will see people from Haiti, they would stay in their circle with people from Haiti,
Sure.
people from Cape Verde, people from.
Sure.
But if we mention about it's about relationship.
Yes.
So what would be the advice in terms of, like, if I give you particular, like, I know some people, when I ask them, how do you spend your day? They would tell me that I go, to work, go to church, stay home, do the housework.
Sure.
And you don't see any things related to social. So when you talk about relation, would you mind to give like the viewers understanding, what they can get out from relationship?
Starting first from growth, in-house, that's home, it's family. And as you know, Ronald, we didn't even choose our family. Your last name, my last name.
Yeah.
We woke up in that.
Yes.
That's God ordained. Outside of that is going to be resources. That's part of people, places, and things. Anything that would help us get to our destiny. So mentorship is necessary. We're starting with that relationship, and that could be a parental thing. That could be big brother, big sister thing.
Yeah.
That could be friends who happen to be a little older, who's showing us the way. But outside of the home, we're going to meet some people. And some of it is by default. That's teachers.
Okay.
So some of my greatest teachers were some of my greatest fans. And other teachers were the ones that said, you're not going to be nothing. You're not going to be able to do what you said you were going to do. Starting from elementary, I had a teacher ask me the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? My mother had already asked me that question, so did my dad. And they were in hopes that I would say doctor, lawyer, someone who professional and holding high esteem amongst the people. So I said the same thing to the teacher. I was like, I want to be a doctor. She's like, well, why not be a trash person? I said, well, before that, I'd want to be a lawyer. And then she said, why don't you be a truck driver like your father? Because you'll never be a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher. And I wish that she was around now, because she was one of my biggest motivators.
Okay.
Because once you're not chasing money, once you're not chasing other people, I'll be better if I just had a better person in my life, or a better family. You'll realize God gave me everything that I need to be successful.
Okay.
So therefore, anything that you give me, even words, I take it. I take the meat of it. That means if it's not going to tear me apart, kill, steal, or destroy for my destiny, I use that to motivate me.
Okay.
So that motivation is coming from the good, the bad, and the ugly. Did you hear me say that?
Yeah, yeah, I hear you say that. So you mean from anything, even if the thing could be bad, for
Yeah.
your example,
Come on now.
you can
Yes, sir.
find motivation
Yes,
like
sir.
this.
Yes, sir. Anything that doesn't kill you is supposed to make you stronger.
Okay,
And the design for man was not to destroy man from the Creator.
okay,
And we believe that for us is Jesus Christ. God would then form man to be in relationship with him, that he would be able to be successful with using time, his energy, and his resources to get to his destiny.
So would you mean also, for instance, people who are here in the U.S. and who are resettling, and if they leave like paycheck to paycheck, and despite of that, they can stay motivated in having a goal and working step by step to accomplish that goal.
Yes, Ron. I give you just a generalization, but it's real stories mixed in. I know people who are making six figures and are this close to bankruptcy. And I know some folks that are living just above poverty level who have homes. So it's not what you do, it's not how much you have sometimes, but it's what you do with it.
Okay.
You've heard people say, just not enough time in a day. It's all the time we have.
Yeah.
So now you've got to manage that time so that in that 24 hours, you're able to rest, you're able to connect with your family, and maintain that relationship. And socially, you've got to network. That's digressing a little bit. You've got to get out and meet some other people opposed to just in your circle. Even Jesus Christ did that. He had his disciples, his family, but he connected to the multitude. And that means that you're going to have to give of your time, energy, and resources to that. Plus, you're also supposed to receive something. And I believe that if you give more, you get more.
Yeah, definitely. So all the viewers, you are still listening to the show called Integration. And Integration is the show that has been brought by Immigration Development Alternatives in the partnership with Cultural Television Network. So we are continuing to talking about motivation. And motivation, it is something that, as human beings, we need. We need that to stay. It's not only, I'm going to say to stay motivated, but to stay with the drive, as you mentioned.
Yes.
To stay, to reach out to the goal or to accomplish your destiny while you are on this earth. So, Donald, as we're talking about that,
Yes, right.
many people, when they come in the U.S., like as I said in the beginning of the show, is that they picture the U.S. as Hollywood. But when they come here, they found that it's not Hollywood. So I have to work. I have to manage my money.
Yes.
And they found also it's like the more it's become difficult to accomplish what we call American dreams. So based on either the economy, well, the economy is doing great now, but
Yes.
for instance, like even if the person get paid, as we mentioned about the paycheck to paycheck,
Yes.
but they found it's hard. It's hard, for instance, if we look at someone, if they would like to buy a house right in Boston, the house, it's like, it's not affordable.
Yes.
So how we can work through that and stay with our drive and motivation, as someone who not used to paying bills, from Haiti, like you're not paying bills monthly.
Yes.
So how you stay motivated?
Yes. That's a challenge for us all. I wish it would be understood that it is not going to be one culture, one race of people. The people that were here before are experiencing it. Those that will come over will experience it. And if we relocate to Haiti, we will go through some of the same thing. I believe it's just designed that now that man born of a woman will be a few days and still full of trouble. These are the challenges, one of the challenges of those that may not have tangible things. But even our rich folks that are living here are now having to be challenged by hope, because they are realizing that they have other issues, but their issues is not affordable housing.
Okay.
For ours, the average person, yeah, and they call it affordable housing, but now we have to say affordable for who,
Yeah.
right? But if I want that home, I want that house, I want that education, I want that marriage, I want that successful spiritual relationship, I've got to understand that the will, right? Man been given the will to think. It comes from confidence that I know I can do it if I apply myself. Now, once I start to apply myself, what I've realized is that other doors around me start to open up. Because as a person thinks, so will they be. So the focus has to be that I can do this.
So you mean the way you think,
Yes.
and what you're thinking, this is what you project.
Yes. It starts with self-awareness. If you look in the mirror and you're thinking that you're nothing,
So you're not going to be anything.
it's not even attractive. That's why amongst us, when we're lonely and we can't seem to find a friend and we stay in the loneliness, it's unattractive. Even when people are coming to us, it appears that we're not even ready for it, so they keep moving. We stay lonely. If you notice that when you have nothing, not even a nickel, it's hard to find a penny. But when you have money, you see money on the ground, people are offering you money. You get a house, you can get a second house, you have a car, get a second car. But I don't believe it's about the external, Ronald. I believe it's inside. So if it appeared that you were lonely because you didn't have people around you, but you still look like this,
Yeah.
nobody has to know you have no friends yet. And there's a scripture that says, to have a friend, one must show themselves friendly. This doesn't look friendly, but this does look friendly.
Definitely.
And now you're reaching out to add someone to something that you have already. See, I think it was a songwriter, Billy Preston, said, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. So you can have the world inside and think it's nothing. You could look in a mirror and think that you're ugly when you're truly beautiful. It is all about perception, and then it's connected to your spirituality.
So it's like to say the mindset, like some people sometimes they think that they don't have to change their mindset and they're going to have different results. Well, because like I found like people, we can talk and people, they're just complaining
Yes.
about everything. But when you ask them what they do so far in order to change, they tell you exactly what they've been doing,
Yes.
but nothing new
Sure.
that can give different results. So if we're trying to, educate people who come here and who've been here, as I said, and for instance, they think that this is how things should work. I go to work,
Yes.
I come home, take care of my child. If I have a little money, if I can save, I save. If I cannot, I don't. But for instance, I don't have a relationship, as you mentioned, because
Sure.
I don't have time for that.
Sure.
So how would you, educate them to make them understand if the mindset, like you do the same practice, you're going to get the same result.
Yeah.
You have to change it. If you have examples that can, elaborate that, that would be great.
So in being graced by God to be able to be put in situations and vocational position of teaching, professional as well. And my motivation for success, MFS, the LLC, that we're asking God to bless so we can reach people, so that we can connect to them, so that they can realize that where they're at may not be necessarily where they're going. But that's a challenge, because remember, we're going back to as a person has been thinking, so are they. So change is hard because it requires work. Most of us, that's why we continue to do the same thing and expect different results. New Year's is coming up.
Yeah.
By the way, happy New Year's Eve. Right.
New Year, see up to you too.
The average person is going to make a resolution.
Definitely.
Somebody else is going to not believe in resolutions, but they're going to make some goals. Maybe this is one of the typical ones. I'm going to do better with my health.
Okay.
I'll lose 20 pounds. We promised the doctor that. It will start off January the 1st, really doing well. Maybe the week will go good.
Yeah.
But at some point, the average person falls off and shows up at the doctor's office, and the doctor says, I think we had a misconception. I think we had a misunderstanding. I thought we were supposed to lose 20 pounds, and we find out we gained 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Because we went out, we got the gym stuff, we got the gym table, but instead of using that bench for that, we used the bench for this. Right? We continue the same practice, and continue the same practice expecting different results. They say it's the real sign of insanity. And the thing about change, because it requires so much work and discipline. So for me, we will pour in things and personal testimonies that have worked for us in hopes that it would fall on good ground. Good ground just means that someone will hear it. And they will hear something that was like, wow, this is what I've been going through. Wow, he said he used to do this, and when he continued to do this, he got the same thing I'm getting now, but then when he tried this, it worked. So maybe today I will try what Donald is using.
Okay.
And if it's not working for me, maybe I'll try what Ronald's doing to attach it and apply it to my life to see if change can happen. And most of that is coming from, if not all of that is coming from wisdom and knowledge based on truth. Because some people believe that they have the truth, but when you ask them for the evidence base, it's not there.
It's in there, yeah.
Right? So therefore, we will pour in knowledge and information, but also I like to keep things simple, Ronald, because people have to understand what you just said. They have to understand what you just did. And if you complicate it, they'll miss it. They'll get the theory of it, but maybe not. How do I apply this to my own life? That's what I love about the gospel. It's simple. The Bible itself, people think it's complicated because you hear the these and the thous, but real simple stuff is, Jesus is just like, how's that just working for you? The woman at the well, how's that working for you? And real natural stuff, just give me something to drink.
Yep.
So we're hoping that we can reach somebody in a natural state, but also allow them to understand that their spiritual component has to be activated, so that therefore they realize that they are great but not greater than, and that they can use the resource in creation and the creator to make sure their relationships are successful.
Okay. And how about how we can talk to people to make it more realistic in terms of when you mention goals?
Yes.
People, for instance, it's gonna be New Year in several hours.
Yes.
It'll be New Year, so people gonna have goals. But for instance, someone could have you say, okay, this year I'm gonna buy a house. Just an example.
Sure.
And their credit is not that good.
Yes.
So how they can go about realistically, focus on something, creating a goal, and that, because this is how they probably not stay motivated, because if you don't do a realistic goal, so how this motivation, this drive's gonna stay and pushing you to accomplish things.
Sure. And that can end up being a long-term goal for someone. They could be like, okay, I'm in a bad place. My credit was really bad. I couldn't credit a bottle of water, so I know something about that.
Yeah.
It started off by people giving you credit cards when you're a teenager. And you start buying things because you think it's extra money.
Yeah.
Because the knowledge is good, so you have knowledge of a credit card, but you don't have the understanding of how it works. And it's not extra money. It's supposed to build your credit, so that your name is good, so you can apply for other bigger things, but you still have to pay for it. So American Express was the first one to teach me that, because they say it's not a credit card. So if they credit you $5,000, you use $5,000, at the end of the month you pay $5,000. That's when the reality hit me that You have to have knowledge, but you have to understand how this works. And you can dig yourself a hole, easy to dig the hole. It takes a little longer to come out unless you have some grace attached to your life, and sometimes that's expedited. But that's the exception. But the average person, you dig the hole, now you got to start to work. And if someone sees you working, and maybe it's you, Ronald, and you see me, and you're like, wow, that's my brother. And you give me a hand up. But I've already started the process because it's not about you, it's about my destiny. So once I get the information, and someone's going to say, listen, I know you got bad credit, but this is what you need to do. So the practical piece with someone is go find the resource. Find the people that are in the business of financing, refinancing, restoring credit, and connect with them so they can give you a realistic view of what your credit looks like now and what's on it and what you need to do to make it better, right? So bring it up to a certain standard. Now, be nice to get a mentor, someone who's been through it before, who's been successful. And they're like, well, Donald, I went through the same thing. And that's what I had in my life. And Donald, get a secure credit card, start paying that, purchase a car when you get to a certain level, and then lease that car because it's going to expedite your credit numbers, and then you're going to watch your credit change. And then income to credit has to be the same. So your spending can't be more than your income. So now you're going to have to live modestly, which is tough in America because it's a lot of visual things that makes people want it. I call that living with the Rileys. So you get a Mercedes-Benz, but you're making enough to pay for that, plus a little bit more. I'm not getting that, but I want the Mercedes because I want to look like Ron looks, right? The suit, that $1 million suit you're wearing, I want that. I want to take the sweater off and put the suit on. But if my income is not where that is, I'll become a consumer for the rest of my life. I'll live a consumer-based life. So in short, for the person that doesn't know this, you want them to get connected to more knowledge and information and then be able to embrace reality.
Okay. So if I really understand, so stay motivated, it has to be done, he has to be connected with living like in reality.
Yes.
It's not just, theory, and you cannot apply that into daily living.
Yeah. So the theory sounds good.
Yeah.
But you have to ask yourself, where's the evidence? So I live two lives. If you can see that. One's evidence-based, I have to check back in. Donald, how's your relationships doing? The other is faith-based. Because I also believe that what I cannot do, I can ask my God. And I use that name, Jesus Christ. If Allah showed up for me, I'd have been a Muslim. If I called Buddha's name and Buddha showed up for me, I'd have been a Buddhist. But the name that my mother said to call on if you're ever in trouble is the name of Lord Jesus Christ. And each time that I've used it from this age to this now, he has come through to help me. And in some cases, he just blessed me beyond the reality of this realm. In most cases, he's like, nah, Donald, you dig that hole? I want to see you do something. You broke that relationship? I want to see you go and say, Ronald, you know what? I said something wrong to you. Please accept my humble apology. You do that, the relationship can be rebuilt. Same thing in life. You've got to take something practical, apply it, and then watch change take place. Right? And then connect your faith, your belief in yourself, and also in, and I say if you don't have your spirituality connected, you're walking on off kilter. So your spiritual has to be connected to all of this. And don't be afraid to be human. That's another thing that keeps you motivated. When you look in the mirror and you get scared over the fact that, wow, I really am messed up. Don't be afraid of that. Every single one of us has something that when we look in the mirror, it just doesn't look so good. But if we could just see ourselves the way the Lord Jesus Christ sees us, we would then see, wow, there is hope. And if you can see that, you can teach that. Not with this. people will see, well, Donald was here. Now, Donald, how'd you get here? And that's the story we're trying to tell. That's why I'm here today, because the story you're reaching out to the people that need it the most, Ron.
Yeah, definitely. So you mean acceptance of the way we are as human beings.
Yes. Yes.
And with that acceptance, we can move to the next step.
Yes. So I have limitations.
Yeah.
I'm no island. I can't do this alone. It says when a person thinks that they are something when they're nothing. And what that means is higher than you should think. The eagle flies about 10,000 feet in the sky. And human beings, we look up and we see that it's not flapping, but it's soaring. And we're like, wow, that's an eagle. We go see the sharks and the whale watchers and these amazing 9, 10 wonders of the world. And we're like, Niagara Falls, the falls just keeps coming. Wow, it's amazing. But then we look in the mirror, Ron, and we see average. That's how we live that 9 to 5, that 10 to 6. That average relationship in a marriage, that average relationship as a member of a church and relationship with the church and Christ. But in reality, God is like, listen, if you created in my image, there's a greatness inside of you. And it's a paradox because you're not greater than, you just are. Right? Life is just not fair. Ron has 2 houses, I have none. Life is life. So embracing your humanity also paired with embracing life.
Would that be also because we, when I say we, like the definition of like depression, like when people get depressed, it's when they try to do something and they realize they cannot do it and they probably think that they will never accomplish it. So that put them in a situation to get depressed.
That's one.
That's one. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So would you mind, because we have many cases that either family or either at work or, people, they live with that pressure, put them in that, depressing, mode.
Sure. I think, humbly speaking, that I've been there many times. A lot of it comes from the voices that we hear and hear and hear. And it becomes part of our emotional state. And most of us are walking around with unnecessary baggage, anxiety, regret, unforgiveness, guilt. I messed up. I messed up royally in that relationship. But if we could just let go some of those things that are weighting us down, I believe that our stress levels would decrease and our hope levels would increase. And then we would be able to see a vision. We'd be able to see us not in our trauma state, but where we were before the trauma. We'd see ourselves standing before the fall and be like, wow, if I was standing then, maybe there's hope I can get back up, that I can be restored from the position I'm in. That's so very powerful. So in saying that, each one of us should consider just this. You're not going to get away from stress, but you should have less stress and then maybe no nonsense. So if you already know you have trouble, don't add any more unnecessary trouble. I'm in debt. A loan is going to temporarily help me. A loan. Because I'm already dug in, I get the loan, I'm out, but now I still owe that plus this. Maybe the loan's not the answer. You have to consider that. This relationship's not working, maybe I'll get another relationship while I maintain this relationship. That's trouble.
Definitely.
Yeah, you have no time for your family already. You think a second job is going to help you balance that? No. I gotta make sure that this is good, and I'm gonna maintain this, and I'm gonna maintain my spiritual relationship, because God can do something that I can't do here. But what He did give me was time, energy, resources, which is including relationship. I'm gonna maintain that, because I'm actually a steward of that. That word steward, right, means that I've been given something to take care of, to handle. And the person that gave it to me, the personality that gave it to me, is going to ask me, how you doing with that? As I go along. I should also check myself, examine myself to see how that's working for me.
Okay.
So keep your feet on the ground, but don't be afraid to fly.
Definitely.
That's the reality you talked about earlier on.
Okay. So all the viewers is still Integration, the show that has been bringing to you by Multicultural Television Network and
Yes.
Immigration Development Alternatives. So we have chance to, have a dialogue with Mr. Donald Rankins, and we talk about motivation. And we talk about many things that, to consider, like life lesson and things that can help people to, stay motivated, stay with your goal, and be realistic. Don't, have like some plan that is, I'm just gonna buy an airplane, and you know that you don't have that money, and you are not at that level to buy an airplane.
Yes, sir.
But be more, be wiser, like more wise about, the plan you making. So Donald, we're gonna be. I know we are about to be in the next year.
Yes, sir.
2020. So you mentioned a lot about spirituality,
Yes, sir.
the spirit. And I remember for myself, like my parents, I remember Cynthia Walsh told me that you are like human, you are a spirit inside of a body.
Hmm.
So when you're talking about the spirituality, how people they can increase, they can nourish their spirituality that can help them to stay with the drive and motivation.
Yeah. So when we talk about spirit, if we connect it to consciousness, then all mankind is aware of consciousness. It's what we do in the class when we have the classroom respond to a simple question. Please put your hands up if you hear voices. And you know what happens, Ron. Most folks don't put their hands up. They think we're talking about mental health issues. And we would never downplay mental health. It can happen to any one of us at any time if we're not also careful of what we focus on. So we're not downplaying, but we do want to bring into reality that human beings complicate some stuff and that we all hear voices. A voice that says, get up, and another voice that says, no, 5 more minutes. A voice when someone cuts you off, give them the middle finger, and the other voice is like, no, you don't want to get involved with road rage.
Yeah.
That's sometimes what that spirit is connected to, our awareness that we are in this world and that we have this being. The spirituality that I was also connected to was the one that died. If we're following biblical principles with Adam and Eve in the garden, and that it would take a God that would then restart the story with the second Adam, which would be Jesus Christ. And that spirit is it's salvation. And I told you that I believe in change. And the only reason why I believe in change is because it happened for me. I also believe in empowering and teaching change, because if we don't change, it remains the same.
Okay.
And change takes power. And in some cases, we have been digged in a hole where we don't have the power to get out ourselves. Our opiate epidemics that we're experiencing, people who go into deep depression, the homelessness that folks are experiencing, and even with a job, they can't find a place to live. That's real talk. We got people hurting. So they've tried everything and everything has failed. And that's the people who I'm trying to reach just as well as you, and saying, listen, when you tried everything and everything has failed, try something different.
Okay.
I came to that fork in the road myself. I had to accept that what was working for my mother wasn't working for me because I wasn't using it.
Okay.
And I told you about that service. And I was smoking tobacco cigarettes at that time. I'm a teenager, 17, 18 years old. Recreational drugs, failing in school, everything was going down, Ron. And then I just decided, well, what would it hurt if I was baptized in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ in water, fully submerged, to come out, and then someone would then mentor me and say, listen, the Lord Jesus Christ said that if you call upon his name, all that do will be saved. You could receive his spirit. And that has been the focal point of my whole change in my whole life, Ron. And if I don't give credence to that, all of this interview is for naught. Because when I couldn't do it myself, I needed help my whole life. My mother would help me, my father would help me, my sister and brother, but there were some things inside here that they could not do for me. And once I got that relationship with Jesus Christ, it now changed. It even opened up my eyes. They used to say, does Donald talk? Does he even have an opinion? I would have never been on this interview back in the day if it wasn't for this change. Now they say, does he shut up? Why? That's because while the voices was telling me I was going to be nothing, you could only be a truck driver or a garbage man, there was another voice saying, you're my son. And because I love you and I love the world, I gave my only begotten son, that whosoever would believe on me would not have to die in here this whole lifetime and then go to the grave and die again. So I'm living not just a dream, but I have hope beyond this grave and beyond this life. That's this purpose-driven life that motivates me every day, because now my calling is connected more than things. Table, house, money, jewelry, even people. It's now founded on, go tell somebody what happened to you. So in hopes that if it's not working for them, whatever they're using, they would then be able to embrace something that could change their life, get them moving toward the second destiny. First destiny, what your heart desires. Most folks can get there. You want to be rich? Hang around some rich people for a while. You want to learn how money works? If you hang around folks that are like you, who are broke, and you have the same break, you're going to be broke. You can't cook, hang around a cook for a little while. You not neat, you're a hoarder. Forget about that hoarding life. Go live with someone who's neat for 60 days. 30 days should be enough, but if you're a deep hoarder, you might need another 30 days. Right? And that's what someone did for me. They showed me a better way, Ron. And then I received that way, and I practiced something, and I saw change happen. And some of it was so miraculous, I had to give it to a miracle because I couldn't do it myself. Every year I was like, I'm going to quit smoking those Newports. And every year I quit for a little bit and go right back to that killing substance, which is nicotine. I'm going to maintain a job for longer than 3 years, and I quit that job just to find another job, to quit another job. And now, you know me, I've been in human services for 29 years. And then now able to do something independent where I can touch more lives with his name. The average person may meet about 10,000 people in their life, Ron. If people don't have any other motivation than that, they should at least glean this. Your assignment is to touch your neighbor. Meet your neighbor. Maybe start there. You know, half of the people understand that we've been from Earth, the moon, and back, but we have a problem crossing the street to meet the neighbor. We get on public crowded subways and we squeeze in between two people and never say a word.
We just stay.
We never say a word.
We just stay in our phones. And
never realizing that society, technology is rocking us to sleep. This life is about relationship. And if you can look to your left and to your right and be at peace with communication with whoever sits next to you, then you're going to find that there's going to be a peace in your life that's unexplainable. Start small.
So thank you, Donald.
It's my pleasure.
And all the viewers, we are at the end of the show, Integration. And we would like, when I say we would like, Immigration Development Alternative as well as MCTV, Multicultural Television Network, to wish everybody a Happy New Year
Yes, yes.
2020. And we hope all of your dreams, the plan, and be realistic and stay motivated, because it's not only like everything you're going to plan that's going to happen, but when something doesn't happen, how you stay motivated. This is this show we're doing now to help you to, have the drives in order to go through 2020. And we also would like to thank all the viewers because you're taking your time to listen
Amen.
to the show, and we hope this show during the year of 2019 has been great, and we're planning to have more, great thing for 2020. And also, thank you for all the guests we have doing the show. You take your time, you come to share ideas, to share knowledge, practice and life experience with the viewers, which really good, and that is a plus we can contribute to the society. So, Donald,
Yes, sir.
is there anything that you would share with people to go to the new year while we're entering 2020?
I would say keep your heads up. Life is hard. Systems are failing. But we don't have to be stuck in a world with no hope. I would say keep your eyes to the stars, to the heavens. And if you don't believe in God, I would challenge you this day, just ask him, if you're real, show me you're real. And if you are a believer already, continue to believe, because the world is going to need that more than anything else. We're going to need other believers. So we're discipling. And if you need any help with that, give us a call.
Okay.
God bless.
Thank you, Donald. Thank you for coming to the show.
It's been my pleasure.
And it was a nice conversation.
Yes.
And I believe the viewers also, they enjoy the conversation. As we've been saying, Happy New Year to all of you
Yes.
viewers, and hope, prosperity, every good thing
Yes.
could happen for the year of 2020. So my name is Ronald Bernard, and I have been presenting to you the show called Integration. We will see next year. Okay.